We're just going, going, going.
And then up early this morning, breakfast at 6:30, transportation at 7:15, conference starting as soon as we got here.
Yes.
And so
And we've been
that's
going
what it's
straight
like.
since then.
But we've been in a lot of sessions, and we want to talk about what we're hearing today. So, Edward, let's start with you. What session did you just come from, and what did you hear?
So I just got out of the session on smart cities here in Russia. So, Rick, there actually is a project between 2018 and 2019 for every province here in Russia. There's almost about 30 plus of them to implement some form of smart city infrastructure. Now, what a smart city is, just to recap for our audiences, it's a city that incorporates technology such as internet-connected things, autonomous vehicles, artificial intelligence, and even robotic cops in the manner to improve the quality of life inside that city for the residents.
All right, now the session you were in, were there governors of these Russian states, Russian provinces? Who was in attendance?
So there were governors from most of the states actually in Russia. They were either in the front seat or on the panel. And they also had some representatives from Italy and France. Actually, the mayor of Greater Paris was on the panel discussing what his city is doing. Now, Rick, something I found crazy listening to this session was each of the Russian governors kept bringing up the concept of an IQ census.
Wait a minute, this is new to me. An intelligence census?
Yes, and they were saying that this IQ census is important for them to figure out exactly what level of a smart city to implement. Now, I know it sounds kind of weird.
So are there going to be smart cities and dumb cities?
That's what it sounds like, Doc. Do you want to live in the dumb city or do you want to live in the smart city?
I want to be in the smart city.
All right, so they're going to do a census of their population to determine the IQ level of their population.
Yes, and including the students, because this isn't all bad. They want to graph where the population's understanding of the technology is. For example, one of the governors, who's in charge of an area of approximately 35,000 square kilometers, I mean, this is bigger than some countries, he notes that most of his population has no idea what artificial intelligence is, could care less about paying taxes for an IoT network, and they don't use satellite. They are using radio signal, maybe even hardwired TV still.
All right, now, the three of us, we've been to a number of conferences in the past year,
Yes.
year and a half, and we've heard some really ambitious projections.
Yes.
That the world is going, 2025 will be the tipping point where, the entire planet population will be equal in terms of access to internet connectivity, and
Right.
By 2030 this grand utopian world will be created.
And we heard that 2030 number being tossed about here today as well.
But are they overly ambitious? When you hear what Edward's talking about, that here you have Russia, this vast country, and a significant portion of the landmass and the population are living in either small towns or farm rural areas.
Yes.
Can they really take the world as far and fast as they say that they're going to do it? I mean, look at Africa, look at South America. I mean, you have places that barely have electricity in many of these places. I've been in South America. I've been up in the Andes Mountains, and you get villages that don't even have electricity.
Yes.
How are they going to take the human population to a 5G connected world by 2030?
Well, Rick, the unfortunality is it's going to have to be probably by force, or at least without asking permission. And we know the globalists and the elite from Davos, they're not against this, of imposing their will onto sovereign nations and using the excuse of humanitarian aid.
But how can they impose their will on a nation that doesn't want it,
Well, think about satellites.
other than war?
Are people going to shoot down the satellites, the low Earth orbiting satellites, if they're over their country providing internet? I mean, think about
But the people don't have to use it.
Yeah, but think about even the programs like the UN started with ID 2020. And the whole idea with that was to give a cell phone and a blockchain number to refugees. I mean, they're starting with people without even homes or even access to technology at all, giving them that technology and saying, you're coming on board. If you want to participate in the global society, you're going to have your blockchain ID, you're going to have a cell phone. So their plan is still in place, Rick, to monitor the world.
Doc, I want to go back to this idea of what he heard in this session about an IQ census.
Doesn't that sound oppressive right there?
It sounds elitist and snobbish. Okay, now think about when Russia was under the Soviet Union, they had central planning.
Right.
And children were told, in the first grade, this is your career path.
Right.
We have determined, the Soviet Union central planners have determined that this is the career that you're going to follow, and then you were on a education track the rest of your
Yes.
your time
Yes.
in school,
Right.
so that by the time you reached 12th grade or graduation, you had been educated and trained for a particular job.
Right.
So is this the modern version of communistic central planning, where they're going to do an IQ census and then determine these people need to live in this city and these people
Wow.
are super smart and they're going to live in that city, and this super smart city is going to have the best of the best?
Right. And the dumb city, I guess, gets the worst of the worst, right?
Is that where we're going? It's kind of like a technological caste system.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, judging by the age of a lot of the governors who were speaking, Rick, they spent most of actually their life under communist rule in some form. I mean, the governors here are 50, 60, 70 years old. So to them, this doesn't sound like something that's obtuse or something that is oppressive, because this is what they grew up